July 6, 2012, 12:30 a.m. Star City, West Virginia. A bedroom window slides open in apartment 207. A teenager climbs out, dropping softly onto the ground below. 16-year-old Skylar Neese waves at the security camera mounted on the building's exterior. She's smiling. She's excited. She's meeting her two best friends for a late-night drive. She climbs into the back seat of a waiting car. This grainy surveillance footage captures the last moments of Skylar Neese's life. What she doesn't know, what she can't know, is that the two girls in that car have already decided she won't be coming home. At first, authorities believed Skylar had simply run away. But what investigators uncovered in the months that followed would reveal something far more sinister. A nervous breakdown, a confession whispered to a lawyer, and over 50 stab wounds in a shallow grave across the Pennsylvania state line. The killers? Not strangers, not random predators prowling the night. Her two best friends. Girls she'd known since childhood. Girls who helped her family search. Girls who posted tributes on social media while her body decomposed in the woods. Her name was Skylar Neese, 16 years old, an honor student with her whole life ahead of her. This is the story of Skylar's last 6 hours alive. From a shopping trip at Wendy's, to a midnight joyride, to a wooded clearing where her best friends would count to 3 and plunge knives into her body again and again and again. Welcome to True Crime Files documentary. Tonight's case will shake you to your core. A betrayal so complete, so calculated, that even veteran investigators couldn't comprehend it. Take a moment to hit subscribe, drop a like, and please let us know where you're watching from in the comments below. And now we begin. Skylar Neese was born on February 10, 1996 in Morgantown, West Virginia. She was the only child of Dave and Mary Neese, a couple who had waited years to become parents. Dave worked at a local Walmart. Mary worked as an administrative assistant at a medical laboratory. They lived in a modest apartment in Star City, a quiet bedroom community just outside Morgantown. From the moment Skylar arrived, she became the center of their universe. Those who knew Skylar described her as bubbly, outgoing, the kind of girl who lit up every room she entered. At University High School, she wasn't just another student. She was an honor roll regular who balanced academics with a part-time job at Wendy's, saving money for college. So teachers noted her dedication. Friends remember her loyalty. She was the friend who showed up, who listened, who kept secrets. That loyalty would cost her everything. By the summer of 2012, Skylar was preparing for her junior year at University High School. She had plans, big plans. She wanted to study forensic science, maybe become a crime scene investigator like her father had been. She talked about moving to a bigger city after graduation, maybe Pittsburgh, maybe DC. Her parents remember her sitting at the kitchen table, laptop open, researching colleges, scholarships, career paths. She was always planning ahead. Mary Neese would later say she knew exactly what she wanted. Skylar's future was taking shape before her eyes. A college degree, a career helping solve crimes, maybe even making a difference in the world. None of it would ever happen. In 2004, when Skylar was just 8 years old, she met a girl who would become her closest friend, Sheila Renee Eddy. The two were inseparable from that moment forward. They spent weekends together, sleepovers, shopping trips, family vacations. Sheila was like part of our family, Dave Neese remembers. She was at our apartment constant. We treated her like our own daughter. The bond between Skylar and Sheila appeared unbreakable. They shared everything. Secrets, dreams, fears, the kind of friendship that feels like it will last forever. By high school, the duo had expanded into a trio when they met Rachel Schoaf. Rachel was a talented actress and singer, another honors student at University High School. On the surface, the three girls seemed like typical teenagers. They posted selfies on social media. They drove around listening to music. They went to parties. But beneath the surface, something was changing. In the spring of 2012, cracks began to appear in their friendship. On social media, Skylar's tweets hinted at drama, at betrayal. June 30th, 2012. It really doesn't take much to piss me off. July 4th, 2012. Sick of being at fucking home. Thanks, friends, love hanging out with you all too. July 5th, 2012. You doing shit like that is why I can never completely trust you. These weren't the posts of a happy teenager. These were warning signs. Classmates would later tell investigators that they'd overheard Sheila and Rachel talking about Skylar, about how they didn't want to be friends with her anymore, about how she was annoying, clingy. Some students thought they were joking, so they weren't. July 5th, 2012. Thursday evening for Skylar Neese. It was just another summer night, another shift at Wendy's, another chance to earn money for college. She had no idea it would be her last. Skylar clocked in for her shift that afternoon. She served customers. She chatted with co-workers. She worked until closing time, then headed home to her family's apartment. Around 11 p.m., she was back in her bed, scrolling through her phone, texting friends. Her parents said goodnight. Skylar smiled and told them she loved them. Sometime after midnight, midnight, her phone buzzed. It was Shelia and Rachel. They wanted to hang out, to drive around, to smoke weed and talk like they always did on summer nights. Skylar had no idea that in less than 6 hours, she would be dead. But before we dive into the horrors of what happened that night, you need to know about the two girls who killed Skylar Neese. Because they weren't strangers. They weren't gang members or drug addicts or career criminals. They were honor students, theater kids, girls with college plans and bright futures, and they were about to throw it all away. Shelia Renee Eddy was 16 years old in the summer of 2012. On the surface, she appeared to be the perfect teenager. She was an honor student at University High School. She was popular. She had plans to attend college after graduation. But those who knew Shelia well saw something else beneath the surface. She was manipulative, controlling. She had a way of making people do what she wanted without them even realizing they'd been manipulated. Shelia was very charismatic. One classmate would later recall, she could make you believe anything. She was the kind of person who always got her way. Shelia had been Skylar's best friend since they were 8 years old. For 8 years, the two had been inseparable. But in 2012, something changed. Shelia had started a romantic relationship with Rachel Schoaf. They wanted to keep it secret, and they believed Skylar knew about it. In Shelia's mind, Skylar had become a problem, a liability, and Shelia Eddy didn't tolerate problems. Rachel Elizabeth Schoaf was also 16 years old. She came from a religious Catholic family in Morgantown. She attended private Catholic school until high school, when she transferred to University High School and met Shelia and Skylar. Rachel was a talented performer. She sang in the choir. She acted in school plays. Teachers described her as creative and intelligent, but Rachel had a weakness. She was easily influenced, particularly by Shelia Eddy. When Shelia wanted something, Rachel did whatever it took to make her happy. In the months before Skylar's murder, Rachel and Shelia had grown closer. They'd started a secret romantic relationship. They spent hours together. They made plans together. And when Shelia suggested they kill Skylar Neese, Rachel didn't say no. Sometime in late June or early July 2012, Shelia Eddy and Rachel Schoaf made a decision. They were going to murder Skylar Neese. The reason? They simply didn't want to be friends with her anymore, and they worried that Skylar knew about their relationship, that she would tell people, that their secret would be exposed. So they planned. They chose a remote location across the Pennsylvania state line, a wooded area near Morris Run Road where nobody would hear screams. They purchased kitchen knives. They brought cleaning supplies, bleach, paper towels, a shovel, clean clothes to change into afterward. They discussed their plan in science class. Other students overheard them talking about killing Skylar. The students thought they were joking. They sent Skylar to the principal's office for it, but they didn't stop planning. On the night of July 5th, 2012, they were ready. July 5th, 2012, 11:45 p.m. Skylar Neese is lying in bed, scrolling through her phone. Her parents are asleep down the hall. Her phone lights up. A text from Shelia. "Wanna go for a drive?" It wasn't unusual. The three girls often went driving late at night during summer break. They'd cruise around Morgantown, windows down, music playing, sometimes stopping to smoke marijuana and talk. Skylar texted back, "Yeah, sure." She changed into casual clothes, skinny jeans, a hoodie. At 12:30 a.m., she climbed out of her bedroom window onto the ground below. The apartment complex's security camera captured everything. Skylar waving at the camera, smiling, walking toward a waiting car. Shelia Eddy's silver Toyota Camry. Skylar climbed into the back seat. Shelia was driving. Rachel sat in the passenger seat. The three best friends pulled out of the parking lot and headed into the darkness. Skylar Neese would never be seen alive again. For the first 30 minutes, nothing seemed unusual. The girls drove through Morgantown. They chatted. They laughed. They listened to music. Now Skylar had no idea that hidden beneath Shelia and Rachel's hoodies were kitchen knives. Around 1 a.m., Shelia turned onto Route 7, heading toward the Pennsylvania state line. "Where are we going?" Skylar asked from the back seat. "Somewhere we can smoke," Shelia replied. Skylar didn't question. They crossed into Pennsylvania. The road grew darker, more remote. Trees closed in on both sides. Finally, around 1:30 a.m., Shelia pulled off onto Morris Run Road, a narrow dirt path leading into the woods. She killed the engine. "Come on," she said. "Let's go smoke." The three girls climbed out of the car and walked into the darkness. The plan was simple. When they reached a clearing in the woods, Shelia and Rachel would count to 3. Then they would attack. According to Rachel Schoaf's later confession, the three girls walked about 50 feet into the woods. They found a small clearing. Shelia looked at Rachel. Rachel nodded. They counted 1, 2, 3. Both girls pulled kitchen knives from their hoodies and began stabbing Skylar Neese. Skylar screamed. She tried to run. She tried to fight back, but there were 2 of them, and they didn't stop. Again and again and again, the knives plunged into her body, her back, her neck, her torso. Skylar begged them to stop. She cried. She asked them why. They didn't answer. When it was finally over, Skylar Neese had been stabbed more than 50 times. Skylar's body lay in the dirt, surrounded by blood. Shelia and Rachel stood stood over her, covered in their best friend's blood. They tried to dig a grave with the shovel they'd brought, but the ground was too hard, too rocky. So instead, they dragged Skylar's body a few feet off the trail and covered it with branches, leaves, dirt. Then they stripped off their bloody clothes and changed into clean ones. They used bleach and paper towels to wipe down the car. Around 3:30 a.m., they drove back to Morgantown. Rachel went home, Sheila went home, and they went to sleep as if nothing had happened. As we go into the investigation that would eventually expose these two killers, take a brief moment to like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already for more in-depth investigations and analysis of significant cases like this. July 6, 2012, 7 a.m. Dave Neese wakes up and walks down the hall to check on his daughter. Her bedroom door is open. Her bed is empty. At first, he's not worried. Maybe she got up early. Maybe she's in the living room. But when he checks the apartment, Skylar is nowhere to be found. He walks back to her bedroom and notices something strange. Her window is wide open. Dave Neese knows his daughter. He knows immediately that something is wrong. Skylar didn't take her cell phone charger. She didn't take contact lenses or solution. Her window was left open. She'd planned on coming home. By noon, when Skylar still hasn't returned or responded to calls, Dave and Mary contact the Star City Police Department. The response they receive will haunt them forever. Police suggest that Skylar probably just went to a friend's house. Maybe she's spending the day out. Maybe she'll come home tonight. Wait 24 hours, they're told, then file a missing persons report. But Dave Neese knows his daughter. This isn't like her. Well, something terrible has happened. By July 7th, the Neese family has organized their own search. Friends, family members, neighbors, volunteers from across Monongalia County join the effort. They print flyers with Skylar's picture. They canvass neighborhoods. They call hospitals. They check with friends. And helping with the search? Sheila Eddy. Skylar's best friend since childhood stands beside Dave and Mary Neese, handing out missing person flyers, posting on social media, asking if anyone has seen Skylar. Please help us find her. Sheila writes on Twitter, I miss you so much, Skylar. Come home. Rachel Schoaf is away at church summer camp, but when she returns on July 12th, she joins the search efforts too. Both girls cry. Both girls hug Skylar's parents. Both girls swear they have no idea where Skylar could be. They're lying. On July 15th, 9 days after Skylar disappeared, investigators obtain surveillance footage from the apartment complex. What they see changes everything. The video shows Skylar climbing out of her bedroom window at 12:30 a.m. on July 6th. She waves at the camera. She walks toward the parking lot. Then a car pulls up, a silver sedan. Skylar climbs into the back seat. The car drives away. Investigators enhance the footage. They run the license plate. The vehicle belongs to Sheila Eddy. When police interview Sheila, she admits she picked Skylar up that night, but she claims they just drove around for an hour, then dropped Skylar off at the end of her street around 11 p.m. Investigators don't believe her. The timeline doesn't match the surveillance footage. They interview Rachel Schoaf. Her story matches Sheila's exact. They picked Skylar up. They drove around. They dropped her off. But detectives notice something. When they ask Rachel to retrace the route they drove that night, her directions don't match Sheila's. They're hiding something. Months pass. The investigation stalls. Skylar's family continues searching. They refuse to give up hope. But behind the scenes, Rachel Schoaf is falling apart. On December 28, 2012, nearly 6 months after Skylar disappeared, Rachel's mother calls 911. Rachel is having a complete mental breakdown. She's screaming. She can't breathe. She's hyperventilating. She's admitted to a psychiatric hospital where she stays for 5 days. When she's released, Rachel asks her mother to take her directly to her lawyer's office. Once there, Rachel Schoaf confesses. She tells her attorney everything. The plan on the drive to Pennsylvania, the knives, the attack, the 50 stab wounds, the shallow grave, and most chillingly, the motive. We just didn't like her anymore. That's it. No grand conspiracy. No deep-seated hatred. No self-defense claim. They killed Skylar Neese because they didn't want to be friends with her. On January 3, 2013, Rachel Schoaf leads investigators to Skylar's body. They drive to Greene County, Pennsylvania, to Morris Run Road, into the woods. Rachel points to a pile of branches. She's there, Rachel says. Search teams move the branches aside. Beneath them, they find human remains. The body is badly decomposed. 6 months of exposure to the elements have taken their toll, but dental records confirm what everyone already knows. This is Skylar Neese. The medical examiner determines the cause of death. Multiple stabs, over 50 of them. Skylar had been stabbed so many times that her killer's hands slipped on the bloody knife handles during the attack. She died in agony, terrified, betrayed by the two people she trusted most in the world. On May 1, 2013, Rachel Schoaf is arrested and charged with second-degree murder. Because she cooperated with investigators and led them to Skylar's body, prosecutors offer her a plea deal. Rachel pleads guilty. She agrees to testify against Sheila Eddy. Investigators try to get Sheila to confess. They have Rachel wear a wire and try to get Sheila to incriminate herself. herself. It doesn't work. Shelia is too smart, too careful, but forensics don't lie. When investigators search Shelia's car, they find blood, Skylar's blood, in the trunk, on the seatbelts. Shelia's fingerprints are on cleaning supplies purchased the night of the murder. On May 1st, 2013, the same day Rachel pleads guilty, Shelia Eddy is arrested in a restaurant parking lot. She's charged with first-degree murder. At first, she pleads not guilty. She claims she had nothing to do with Skylar's death, but facing a potential trial in Pennsylvania where she could receive the death penalty, Shelia changes her mind. On January 24, 2014, she pleads guilty to first-degree murder. She never apologizes. She never explains why. She never expresses remorse. She simply accepts her sentence, life in prison with the possibility of parole after 15 years. On February 26, 2014, Rachel Schoaf stands before Judge David Hummel Jr. in Monongalia County Circuit Court. This is her sentencing hearing for second-degree murder. Rachel reads a prepared statement. She apologizes to Skylar's parents. She cries. She says she thinks about Skylar every day. "I'm sorry," she tells Dave and Mary Neese. "I know that doesn't mean anything, but I am." Dave Neese doesn't accept her apology. "You had every chance in the world to back out," he tells the court. "You made a choice." Mary Neese addresses Rachel directly. "You took my baby. You took my opportunity to walk her down the aisle. You took my chance to hold my grandchildren." The courtroom is silent. Judge Hummel sentences Rachel Schoaf to 30 years in prison with eligibility for parole after 10 years. As of 2024, Rachel has been denied parole twice. Her next hearing is scheduled for 2026. 1 week later, on January 24, 2014, it's Shelia Eddy's turn. Unlike Rachel, Shelia shows no emotion, no tears, no remorse. When asked if she has anything to say to Skylar's family, Shelia declines. Prosecutor Marcia Ashdown presents evidence of the planning: the knives, the cleaning supplies, the shovel, the premeditation. This was not a crime of passion, Ashdown tells the court. This was calculated murder. Dave Neese addresses the court one final time. "You can look into the eyes of those who were responsible, but you can never know what they heard as they were taking her life," he says. "My life and my wife's life have been drastically altered. We're no longer a family." Judge David Hummel Jr. sentences Shelia Eddy to life in prison with mercy. Under West Virginia law, this means she'll be eligible for parole after 15 years. In 2028, Shelia is led out of the courtroom in handcuffs. She never looks at Skylar's parents. She never apologizes. Today, both Rachel Schoaf and Shelia Eddy are incarcerated at the Lakin Correctional Center in Mason County, West Virginia. The prison has earned the nickname Camp Cupcake for its relatively lenient conditions. Inmates can listen to music. Some have tablets and game systems. According to former inmates, Rachel and Shelia are two of the most famous prisoners at the facility. They receive stacks of fan mail. They see each other daily in the recreation yard. Rachel has earned her cosmetology license. She leads a prayer group and sings in the prison choir. Shelia is reportedly popular among inmates, manipulative, charming, just like she always was. In May 2023, Rachel Schoaf appeared before the parole board for the first time. She admitted for the first time that she and Shelia had been in a romantic relationship and feared Skylar would expose their secret. The board denied her parole. They'll both be eligible again in the coming years. But for Skylar's parents, no amount of prison time will ever be enough. From unimaginable tragedy came meaningful change. The case of Skylar Neese exposed critical flaws in West Virginia's missing persons protocols. When Skylar disappeared, police initially refused to issue an Amber Alert because there was no evidence of an abduction. Under West Virginia law at the time, Amber Alerts could only be issued when there was proof a child had been kidnapped. But Skylar went willingly with her killers. She climbed into that car on her own, so technically there was no abduction. This policy cost precious time. Hours that could have been spent searching for Skylar were wasted waiting for proof that never came. Dave and Mary Neese refused to let their daughter's death be in vain. They lobbied the West Virginia state legislature for change. On April 1st, 2013, Governor Earl Ray Tomblin signed Skylar's Law. The new legislation changed West Virginia's Amber Alert system to include all missing children, even if there's no evidence of abduction. If a child disappears under suspicious circumstances, an alert goes out immediately. No more waiting, no more bureaucracy, no more lost time. Skylar's Law has helped locate dozens of missing children across West Virginia since 2013. Her death saved lives. The wooded area where Skylar's body was found has been transformed into a memorial. Dave and Mary Neese visit regularly. They've placed a bench there, a plaque with Skylar's name and dates. Friends leave flowers, photos, letters. At Skylar's High School, a memorial scholarship was established in her name. It's awarded each year to a student pursuing forensic science, the career Skylar never got to pursue. On social media, #Justice4. Skylar continues to trend every July 6th, marking the anniversary of her murder. Her story has been featured on Dateline, 2020, Investigation Discovery, and in countless true crime podcasts and documentaries. Skylar's name is remembered. Dave and Mary Neese will never recover from losing their only child. They visit Skylar's grave regularly. They speak at schools and prisons about the consequences of violence. Through their organization, Skylar Talks, they've reached thousands of young people across West Virginia. They ask students to take Skylar's promise, a commitment to speak up if they believe something is wrong, to tell an adult if they hear threats, to take warning signs seriously. We can't bring Skylar back, Dave Neese says, but maybe we can prevent another family from going through what we've been through. They continue to fight for Skylar, to keep her memory alive, to make sure the world never forgets what was taken from them. A daughter, a friend, a future, all gone because two girls just didn't like her. July 6, 2012. That date will forever mark one of the darkest chapters in West Virginia history. 12 years later, Skylar Annette Neese is spoken not just as a victim, but as a force for change. Laws protect other children because of her. Students receive scholarships in her memory. Her killers will never walk free without a parole board hearing the Neese family's testimony. The family will never stop grieving. The pain remains, but they've transformed unimaginable loss into something powerful, a legacy that grows stronger every year. In the end, that's what endures. Not the evil that tried to destroy her, but the light that continues to shine in her memory. Skylar Annette Neese, February 10, 1996 to July 6, 2012. Her name deserves to be remembered. If you enjoyed this content, join our community by subscribing and turning on notifications. Every subscriber makes it possible for us to keep creating content we're passionate about sharing.